everyone! Today we're going to be renovating this starter home that I actually built in a 10-minute challenge that I did very recently. And I discovered that it was way under the 20,000 simoleon mark, so I decided that I wanted to renovate it and keep it as a starter. Even though it was pretty empty, I thought that it was something that was absolutely possible, and I also decided to have this as a limited pack build. So this is only using Growing Together and Parenthood. I originally wanted to keep the season stores, but I decided that it was a bit ridiculous to keep a pack just because of the doors, especially since I changed the color scheme in here. And I do realize that I kept Parenthood, which was something that I was only using in the tiles in the kitchen and the bathroom, but it actually allowed me to have some nice counters, so I decided that it was worth it. And I also discovered that this tile goes really well with the tile from Growing Together, I think, because they are like so similar in size. So I thought that was very cool, and that did mean that I had to get rid of the cottage living kitchen set, which is pretty inexpensive. And so I think that this kitchen is probably more expensive than the one that I had originally, though I am using the cheapest appliances, so I think I did save some money in there. Right now I have this tile that has these gray boards, and I did actually use the matching wallpaper in the other rooms. I originally went with this like very pale like blue-gray wallpaper, but then I decided to go with the one that had the same green color as this one, and that actually worked a lot better. Originally I had this sort of like light blue color scheme going with the orangey wood, and I did keep the orange wood on the outside, but inside it ends up being a lot more gray, so I decided to have some gray doors instead, although I did keep a lot of the more normal wood tones like browns and stuff. So for example, in the kitchen I did have these gray counters, but the countertops are kind of beige, so I decided to have the cabinets be a similar color, and I think that helped a lot with this space, because sometimes I feel that when I am using the white or gray swatches, these spaces look too cold. Somehow that isn't true when I am using the blue, but I feel that many of those whites and grays are super cold, and I am not a big fan of that. So I was very happy that here I was able to have a warmer gray with these beige accents. And in this bathroom I decided to add a lot of clutter. Well, not a lot, but it is clutter. I did end up having to get rid of one of those soap bottles, but I was able to keep that really cute towel from Growing Together, and I decided to have one that matched the faucet on the sink. So here in this desk nook, I decided to have a chair from Parenthood instead of copying the same chairs from the dining room. Since the dining room was so close to it, it looked a bit weird. And I think that at this point the house was a bit larger than it was originally, but now I have shrunk it. And actually this house ends up being 3 tiles smaller than originally. So it is still a small home. You can still get some perks with Tiny Living, but I didn't use anything else from Tiny Living in here. I had the TV console thing, but I decided to swap that out for this very cute side table and a very cheap TV, and at this point things are going to be looking very grey, especially because of this couch. I like this couch, but I think that the swatches aren't good, so I thought that maybe I could use the grey one in here because that's one of the good swatches. But it was just looking too cold, and it isn't that inexpensive, so I decided to not have that. And once I had picked this rug from Growing Together, I decided that I was going to bring back the green in here, and so now everything is more like green, and I think it looks happier. I also decided to have this blue rug here in the bedroom because I was using this bed that is a lot bluer. And I think that it actually really worked. I think that this color scheme is really nice for a bedroom. It looks very relaxing to me. And I think I did swap the nightstand for one from Parenthood, but here I was deciding that this kitchen didn't need to be a separate room, so I was able to save a little on the door and that wall, and I ended up having the kitchen laid out in this way instead. I think that it worked a lot better for the appliances, and I really liked how these cabinets look next to these, I forgot what it's called, but the thing that goes above the stove. And I think that it's a much nicer kitchen this way, even if it might be more expensive. But I think that that way you are able to just upgrade the appliances if you move in here. And by the way, I am going to have this on the gallery under my ID, which is Veranio. I also have the original starter home 10 meal challenge thing that I had, which was mostly functional. I actually forgot to add the mailbox and the trash can. I didn't even have an indoor trash can. So if you would like to renovate it, you could also just download that version. And I actually forgot to add the trash can until much later in this video, and that actually meant that I didn't have enough money at the end. So what I had to do was to eliminate some of these objects, even if I was using some tricks like sizing up these smaller curtains to frame the windows, and they do look a bit huge, so I had to move the furniture so that it wasn't clipping. But it's a trick that you can use if you're short on simoleons, and that's actually why I decided to only have an armchair instead of a love seat. And I am using the matching one. I really wanted to use the one from Growing Together, but it was more expensive, so that's something else that you could very easily swap out. And I also ended up having to go with an even cheaper stove, and we're going to go outside to just add some landscaping and side yard. This is all debug mostly, so these fences and the landscaping, all of that is free, and that allowed me to save a little bit on money, though you can see that I am very dangerously approaching the 20,000 simoleon mark. This is in Sequoia. I forget what the lot is called, but it's something place, and I will also have that in the description of the video so that you can know exactly where this is placed. This lot doesn't have great lighting. That's one thing that I discovered. It looks nice at this time of the day, but during the rest of the day it looks a bit weird. But I think that this house being this color actually helps it not look so cold. Outdoor lighting looks very cold in The Sims. And here I am just using these pavers. They are from the Basecamp debug, and they are a very cool way to save up on money to add like a terrace sort of space. And here's where I would imagine you could have a grill, and I did as a picnic table, so there's a few more activities in that space. I would have added more activities, but I ran out of money, and that's something that you could maybe just choose depending on the kind of family you would be playing with. There isn't really space for a family in here at the moment, but there's like a lot of space in this lot still, so it could be renovated to have another bedroom or maybe a second floor. So I think this is a very versatile little starter, and I think that's one thing that I want my starters to be. I want them to be cute, but I want them to still have space for decorations and adding stuff that would be better for my storyline or what I want my Sims to do for work or for hobbies. So I think that this house manages to look nice while still having a lot of options for you to customize it. I do have a very cheap TV, so that's another thing that could be very easily renovated. That was definitely not a priority. And this entryway space could be a lot better. I think that I would have preferred to have like a bookshelf or something there. And I think that at this point in the video, I am just trying to add some finishing touches, such as a bath mat, and I remembered about that trash can, and that meant that I was a bit over budget. So I decided to get rid of that bike, and then I remembered about that mailbox, and I also decided to add a space for a car, and this area is actually too far from the edge of the lot, I feel, so I ended up scooting it forward, and I am not sure if I showed that because I felt that I had already spent enough time in this video just adjusting stones. And then I am just switching a few things for cheaper versions of them, such as this lamp. The one from Growing Together is very cute, but is a lot more expensive than this base game one, and I feel that it's always nice to be able to upgrade a few things in your home as you get more money. So that's one of the things that makes these Sims be rewarding for me. And then I'm just looking through the book, just adding stuff like that garden gnome, which I think actually comes with the Growing Together ebook, and this part of this Lego thing that comes with Parenthood that looks like a bar of soap to me. And I think that's going to be mostly it for the video. I'm just adding these debug marriage certificates from Growing Together, which look pretty cute and just like something with lettering. And that's going to be it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you want to give me any suggestions for other limited pack builds, whether they be starter homes or not, I would be very happy to read about them in the comments. Thank you again so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon.